About 10 months ago, I came to the Arbitrum DAO with a hope and a dream. And then, after months of starting to meet delegates, engaging, thankfully there was a grant program at the time that allowed us to get started quickly. But then I discovered that despite all the possibilities, despite the delegates wanting to hear us, despite all of the people trying to do something about it, it was extremely challenging to move forward. What we see is that the large majority of proposals don't get approved, and it takes really, really long time to understand a problem deeply enough to coordinate with all of the different activities, all the different entities in the DAO. And this is likely to become worse over time. The more the DAO grows, the more there are programs, the more there are people involved, the harder and harder it is to be able to figure out what is really the right solution. At the same time, we often have delegates who have a lot of context and understanding about what needs to happen, and they have no way to quickly fund someone to go and advance initiatives, to be a little bit like the political whip in American movies, where you can go and like, hey, what's the feedback? How do these go through? And actually get more proposals and more initiatives moving through the DAO. So what we have right now is that there is actually no program that is supporting the really early stage of problem definition, alignment, and engagement with delegates, so we can unblock the DAO and move forward. So we're lacking a mechanism that allows us to do this problem definition, alignment, etc. And this is causing all kind of headaches for all the stakeholders involved. So what we're proposing is, let's unblock the DAO. Let's create a fund that can provide very small grants where we can do the early stages of deeply understanding root causes, of aligning everyone that needs to be aligned, of understanding how things relate with other initiatives or not, so we can solve the right problems really well, as opposed to creating complicated solutions for the wrong problem that are never going to go anywhere, and where we can waste a lot of time. We want to combine these with a mechanism where we speak with top delegates. We try to gather a lot of these contexts about what are some of the key challenges that the DAO has right now, and then we can make this data publicly accessible for everyone to see, hey, here are some key challenges that we want to work around, and here is some funding that we can use to start developing proposals, to start figuring out how we address these problems, to do the research, the alignment, the problem definition that I'm talking about. So what do we want to fund? Especially early stage initiatives that are really focused on advancing problem definition, alignment, prioritization, that have some endorsement by delegates, so we are making sure that these things can actually go through, that with small amounts of funding, so we're thinking the majority of this work doesn't even require to go this big, but in some cases there will be larger initiatives where you can keep on funding the projects. In the majority of cases, we're thinking small budgets, 5,000, 10,000, can allow someone to work for a month or two and make sure that what we're proposing to the DAO really makes sense and is really going to work for everyone involved. So some examples of things that we have recently, there is already, everyone has like the different ideas that make sense, that they would love to see developed, but how do we actually get them across the board? So let's try to unblock the DAO and get different experts in the community to be able to advance their initiatives. Let's make sure that what the delegates are receiving as proposals is making sense. And let's combine the different mechanisms that we can get access to, so we actually arm people with the best intelligence from the beginning about what problems matter, what problems are urgent, and then do the deep root cause analysis. So we're not just creating some proposal, but we're creating deeply relevant, meaningful, impactful proposals for the DAO. Thank you.